Can Zhen Huan, blessed with both beauty and talent, truly outshine all in the imperial harem and enjoy everlasting favor? Xianling had just left when Jinxi came to my side and whispered, "The Office of Reverent Affairs has reportedly prepared the young mistress's green head token. It seems the Emperor intends for you to serve in his chambers soon." After saying this, she bowed with a broad smile. "Congratulations, young mistress." I blushed and scolded, "Don't talk nonsense." The wind in the courtyard lifted my sash and skirt hem, fluttering like butterflies. Twirling the sash around my finger, I stood for a while before softly saying, "Should I go and pay my respects to the Empress Dowager now?" Jinxi softly replied, "Since the Emperor hasn't given such an order, the young mistress needn't do so for now to avoid any disturbances." After a thought, she added, "Since the Emperor has already instructed the Office of Reverent Affairs, the Empress Dowager must be aware. According to protocol, the young mistress should visit the Empress Dowager the morning after serving in the chambers." I hummed in agreement and slowly said, "The wind is picking up. Let's go inside." In the days that followed, the Emperor would often come over to casually chat with me, whether to enjoy tea or discuss poetry, but he never mentioned the matter of me serving in his chambers. I too pretended not to know, conversing with him comfortably. One morning upon waking, I sensed a rich fragrance of flowers, as if the begonias outside were in bloom. However, with the curtains drawn and the flowers just beginning to open, how could their scent penetrate inside? It was probably just an illusion, the scent of burning incense. While sitting in front of the mirror to groom myself, I casually asked Huan Bai, "Have the begonias in front of the hall bloomed?" Huan Bai laughed. "The young mistress is truly insightful, knowing the begonias have bloomed without even leaving your room. I only saw them early this morning." I turned in surprise. "Is that so?" I merely asked casually. "If they have indeed bloomed, it would be a shame not to admire them." After grooming and changing, I went out and indeed saw the begonias in bloom, their freshly opened blossoms like tiny snowflakes, except these were crimson, slightly transparent and brilliantly glowing. At that moment, a sense of foreboding joy surged within me and I smiled. All those nights under the glow of the red candles have finally coaxed the flowers to bloom. In the evening, as I sat leisurely by the window, the scent of the newly bloomed begonias outside filled the air, intoxicatingly rich. An eunuch entered with hurried but orderly steps, his voice respectful yet firm, announcing, "By the Emperor's decree, concubine Huan is granted a bath in the Chuanlu pool. Palace manager Cui Jinxi will attend." Following protocol, I thanked him for the decree, and Jinxi and I exchanged glances, knowing this was a precursor to serving in the chambers. The eunuch politely told Jinxi, "Please have everything ready for the young mistress quickly. The sedan is waiting outside the palace gate." Chuanlu Pool, constructed from Han white jade, draws warm springs from the nearby Mount Mei, mixed with the morning dew. Emperor Wu of Han, in his quest for immortality, once built a jade dish to collect heavenly dew, which he called immortal dew. Hence the name Chuanlu Pool, implying a realm akin to that of immortals. Being granted a bath in the Chuanlu Pool is a great honor for concubines. The Chuanlu Pool is divided into 3 sections, for the Emperor, the Empress, and the concubines respectively. The Emperor's section, Lotus Pool, features a white jade dragon head at the inlet, with the bottom carved with thousands of lotus patterns. The Empress's section, Peony Pool, features a half-bodied jade phoenix, with the bottom carved with thousands of peony patterns. The concubine's section, Begonia Pool, has the water inlet graced by 3 half-bodied azure jade luan birds. The entire Chuanlu Palace was filled with the scent of calming incense, with white smoke swirling like mist. The fragrance was subtle and silent throughout the palace, with only the soft sound of rippling water audible. The white jade pool was intricately carved with endless patterns of begonia branches, and the clear water shimmered like moonlight. Candlelight flickered, casting countless rainbow-colored sparkles, like a radiant rainbow in the sky, reflecting the large, gently swaying begonia petals at the bottom of the pool. I smiled, thinking of the newly bloomed begonias in Tongli Palace, bringing a familiar comfort. The petals represented the warmth of Tongli Palace and the novelty of Chuanlu Palace. The soft touch of my skin against the hard yet warm carved petals was a mix of apprehension and reassurance towards the unknown, as if the jade-carved petals were teasing the fluctuating emotions within me. The warm and soothing water felt like gentle hands calming my restless heart, the rising steam enveloping my heart, momentarily easing the tension of being in an unfamiliar place. Suddenly, I noticed a shadow cast on the drooping soft curtains, not belonging to any of the maids or eunuchs who stood outside. Only Jinsi was with me inside. Who could enter so silently? Instinctively, I turned around, recognizing the familiar figure but couldn't help feeling flustered, knowing it wasn't appropriate to be seen in such a state. After a moment, seeing he didn't come in, I felt somewhat relieved. Standing up and lifting my face, Jinsi immediately wrapped a plain silk bathrobe around me, securing it tightly. Only then did I manage a light smile and said, "Does the emperor wish to emulate Emperor Han Chang? I dare not presume to be Zhao Fian." Hearing me speak, the attendants outside the curtains quickly pulled them aside and knelt down, leaving only Xianling standing with his hands behind his back. He chuckled, then feigned anger. How bold to compare me to Emperor Chang of Han. I wasn't afraid, and with a soft kneel I replied, "The emperor is wise and knowledgeable with unmatched talents. Emperor Chang of Han would prostrate himself before you." Xianling's face remained stern, but his tone lacked any blame, only easing. Flattering, but I find it pleasant. Yet how would you, secluded in the inner palace, know of my wisdom in the court? Do not speak carelessly of state affairs. I bowed my head. Being confined to the palace, I know not of the court's affairs. But one thing is certain. The emperor, possessing the world, has concubines more beautiful than the flying swans in Zhao Fian, and more virtuous than Ban Jieyu. Emperor Cheng's fortune pales in comparison. He laughed heartily. My concubine Huan is indeed quick-witted. He gestured for me to stand, lightly touching my temples. Even Fian would feel outshone by you. I stepped back slightly, standing straight. I dare not compare myself to Zhao Fian. I aspire to the virtue of Ban Jieyu. As I spoke, I recalled Ban Jieyu's later fall from favor in her secluded life, casting a shadow over my mood. Xianling smiled. With your stunning beauty and wise heart, you are indeed my fortune. He extended his hand, waiting for me to place mine in his. Hesitating for a moment, whether from reserve or something else, the steam from the hot springs enveloped me, causing beads of sweat to form on my forehead. Water from my wet hair dripped onto my clothes, the warmth quickly spreading over my body, making the silk bathrobe cling tightly to my form, revealing my figure. I felt embarrassed and softly said, "Allow me to change into proper attire before meeting the emperor." He pulled me by the hand without another word, with all the attendants bowing their heads. Unsure of his intentions, I quickly looked to Jinsi, who, unable to speak, had just taken a robe, intending to follow. Xianling then asked, "Where are the attendant maids?" Jinsi responded with a yes, and immediately draped the clothes over me. The loose robe trailed on the ground. His voice was very calm as he said to those outside, "Let's head to the Yuan Hall." He then took my hand and led me out at a leisurely pace. The night in Yong Alley was extremely quiet, the darkness boundless. The candlelight from the stone lanterns on either side brightly illuminated the ground. A slender crescent moon hung far off in the sky, and the night breeze, carrying the fragrance of magnolia, added an indescribable sense of poetic beauty to the serene night. Xianling's hand was warm, firmly holding mine as we walked forward without a word. The dense arrow patterns on his cuffs occasionally brushed against my robe, making a soft rustling sound, like an unintentional intimacy. The eunuchs and maids following behind us were utterly silent, not making a sound. The walk from Chuanlu Palace to Yuan Hall wasn't far. White marble steps were lined with trees of white and purple magnolias, their holy blossoms opening under the palace lamps, resembling the white wings of doves. As I followed Xianling up the steps, I had a clear understanding of what awaited me. My steps were slow, each one firmly planted on the stairs, exerting a noticeable effort.
Follow us to avoid getting lost and enjoy endless exciting stories. For more content, please go to the Story Wall homepage to view more exciting novels.